Hi everyone, welcome back. It's time for week 4 of our weekly tracking video. I apologize for the goofy getup, it's kind of cold out. By the way, Blake, Northwinds Wilderness School, thank you for joining us again. We are dealing with some interesting challenges this week. It's very cold out, so the ground is frozen solid, but there's very little snow, so we're having a hard time finding tracks. We're going to do our best to find something interesting for you. I actually have found a couple of things that I want to show you. They don't really count as a track of the week, but it's some information about tracking, and it's Saturday. I don't know. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Let's go take a look. Okay, this is the first kind of interesting thing we've found. And the main reason that I know what this is because it's been here for a long time. We've had some very warm days here recently in the 40s, so the ice kind of melted and got really slushy. And then just in the last 2 days, it's been really cold again, so everything has frozen hard. So if you'll look right down here, do you see all these little divots in the ice? Do you see how they create a path from here to here? These are mouse tracks, deeply embedded in the ice from when it was slushy. This is a trail going through here that when there's snow or mud, it's a mouse highway. It could be voles or shrews, I'm not sure. It's something small like a mouse or a vole or a shrew. And you'll see, you can almost make out the bounding pattern. Front feet, rear feet, front feet, rear feet, front feet, rear feet. These look like rear feet, front feet, rear feet. So this mouse is bounding through here, going from grass to grass across the ice. In the summer, this is most likely where they get their drinking water. In the winter, it's just where they move. And it's just an interesting phenomenon that the ice melted, got slushy, the mouse left really deep tracks, and then it got cold and froze everything hard. So we have half-inch deep mouse tracks in frozen solid ice. Let's go see what else we can find. Just for reference, do you see this here? This is what a mouse trail looks like in the snow. So you've got front feet, rear feet, front feet, rear feet. This is a bound pattern of an animal moving this way. Front feet, rear feet, hop, hop, hop. Mouse moving this way. All right, here's interesting item number 2. We're gonna let this car drive by because I don't feel like editing it out. There are ways to tell when an animal has been present without actually seeing tracks or without actually seeing the animal. The first time I tracked across hard ice was one of the most educational days of my life. Thank you to Rob Grunewald for that one. Let me show you what we've got right here. A large mammal has been through here. Can you tell how? If you'll look right here, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 claw marks. Obviously that animal was moving on this slippery ice. The claws dug in and it slipped back to here. If you'll look under my foot, there's another one, and there's a whole trail of it. Here's another one. And if you follow the trail, you can see that this animal moved along the shoreline of the lake, slipping and sliding on the slippery ice. So when you're tracking, there's more to look for than just footprints. There's more to look for than just tail drags and parted grass to create a trail. There's a lot of things to look out for when you're tracking or trailing to find evidence of an animal. Based on this, what do you think we're working with? Would it be a turtle or an owl? Could it be an otter? Or do you think the fact that there's 4 parallel claw marks might indicate that it's a canine? It's probably not a cat. We're looking at a track width of maybe 1 3/4 inches with 4 parallel track marks. I'm guessing this is a coyote. Also, we know that coyotes travel this path because we see their tracks all the time. So just based on this little set of scratches on the ice, I believe strongly enough that a coyote has been through here that I'm willing to explore it farther. All right, we found another cool little item here. Do you all see this? Do you see how it's equally shredded at the bottom as the top? There's no curling down in the bottom. And you see these little scratches up top? This is a white-tailed deer rub. So the male deer will come and they'll rub their antlers on these trees, and it scrapes all this bark up. And it does a number of things. It exercises their neck. It makes their neck muscles stronger so that when they're fighting during the mating season, they don't have to worry about having a weakened neck due to the heavy antlers. It also, deer have what's called orbital glands, which are right here, which is a scent gland. So when they're rubbing their antlers on here, it's putting their scent on this tree. It also helps rub the velvet off. The velvet is the soft kind of fuzzy substance that a deer has on its antlers while they're growing. And it's also a sign of dominance. The deer will show that this is my territory, this is my turf, and look how tough I am. I can scrape all the bark off this tree or whatever. Deer will also, if you see this broken one right here, they will grab the tip of this in their mouth and bend it to rub their orbital glands on this. So we've got scent marking here, scent marking here. We've got the rub here. So clearly there's what I'm going to call a small buck living in this area. Cool, huh? All right, I found one more thing I want to show you here. Do you see this, what appears to be kind of random pile of sticks and mud? You can see little chewed up pieces of wood in here. It's not the freshest thing in the world, obviously, because we're in the middle of winter, but this is probably a beaver scent mound. The first time I found it, I thought otter, but otters typically make their scent mounds a little further from the water, and they typically will have twisted up grass in it. So I think that this is a beaver scent mound. The beavers will come up on shore and they carry sludge and dirt from the bottom of the lake and they pile it up here, and then they rub their castor glands on this to put their scent on it. The castor gland of the beaver being a very well-known piece of wildcrafted usable object. It's used in cosmetics, it's used in perfume, it's used in vanilla flavoring, it's used in all sorts of things. And scientists aren't exactly certain why they do it. We believe it has something to do with territory marking, but we don't know if it's for mating or if it's territory boundaries or if it's a warning. We're not entirely certain what it is. We just know it has something to do with territory. We've known this one was here for a while. I just thought it would be something interesting I could show you, seeing as how I'm struggling so hard to find decent tracks this week. Let's move on and see if we can find anything else. So I think this is going to be the last challenge we do for today, unless I find something interesting between here and home. But do you see all these little dots on the ground here? What do you think they might be? Do you think they could be from a mouse? Or a giant herd of mice? Do you think they might be from some other small mammal? When you're tracking, the whole picture is very important. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten about tracking was don't try to learn the story from one track. Sometimes we don't even try to learn the species from one track. So when you're tracking, you have to take in the whole scene. All those little dots look crazy and random. They're obviously something, but we don't know what it is until we take in the whole picture and we look up here. Do you see all these little branches, all these aspen branches here, all these wild plum branches here? So earlier I told you that in the last few days we've had some really warm weather and everything has melted. And all the snow and ice that was on these branches dripped down to the ground and made all these little pock marks that you see here that look a little bit like tracks. So we learned that it's very important to take the whole picture into consideration. That's why trackers pay attention to weather history, weather forecast, wind direction, because you have to know what's going on in the world around you in order to be able to interpret what you're seeing on the ground. It would be really easy to mistake this for a herd of mice or lemmings walking through here. But in fact, just by simply looking up, we notice all these branches. But simply by looking up at all these branches and remembering the weather from a few days ago, we can easily figure out that this is water droplets falling from tree branches. So I'm gonna do my sign off here, but I promise if I find anything cool between here and the house, I'll show it. I apologize that I didn't actually have a track for you this week. It's just the weather and the substrate have been weird and I can't find anything. I hope you've learned something from this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you like what we're doing, if you support the mission that we're on, find someone to share this with, help us spread the word. If you've had any cool tracking mysteries this winter, or you've had any really difficult substrate epiphanies, comment, share it with us, let us know what you're doing. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. We appreciate every single one of you. I'm Blake. I'll see you next time. All right, I know I just did my sign off, but I promise you if I found anything cool, I'd show it to you. If you can see on the tree right here, we have these little spots where the bark has been pulled off. There's a bunch here, a bunch here, a bunch here. So on our property, we have pileated woodpeckers, downy woodpeckers, red-bellied woodpeckers, and hairy woodpeckers. This is called bark scaling. If you see ash trees that have emerald ash borers, you'll see whole trees that have been bark scaled. This is a sign of a hairy woodpecker. What they do, if we look really closely, you can see claw marks. You see the two little lines right there and two little lines right there? Those are the claws of the bird hanging onto the tree. And it'll use its beak to peel off these chunks of bark and then drill in to try to pull bugs out. You can see a beak hole here, a beak hole here, a beak hole here. So those woodpeckers go up and down these trees, they peel off the bark, and then they drill into the tree so they can try to pull bugs out. Look right over here. There's another claw mark, and there's 1, 2, 3 beak holes, and here's some more bark scaling. This is a sign of a hairy woodpecker. All right, I'll let you go for real now.